time is now 5 p.m. and I call this administrative meeting of the City Council of Ozark to order. If you haven't already done so, please silence your cell phones and make sure that you have signed in the back of the room. So our first order of business this evening is a public hearing for the rezoning of 398 Claybank Street. So at this time, I will open the public hearing. Is there anyone in attendance that would like to speak for or against the rezoning of 398 Claybank Street? Okay, I call this public hearing to a close. At this time, we'll review the agenda for the 5:30 p.m. meeting. So after a call to order and a prayer and pledge of allegiance, we will review the minutes from the regular council meeting that was held on May 20th, 2025. Council members, do you have any questions or comments about those minutes?
No.
Okay. Item number 5 is an ordinance for the rezoning of 398 Claybank Street. It's the public hearing register. Do you have any comments or questions on that one?
No.
Item number 6 is to set a public hearing for the rezoning of 314 Bingham Street. So, would you like to speak on that one for us?
It's another one of these situations where the house is sold, but this is an industrial zone, the bank's not letting them loan the money. But it's located in a residential zone, but it's somehow it got cut into that industrial part.
Okay. Council members, does anyone have any questions for Brett on that rezoning? Or the setting the public hearing for it? So we would set a public hearing next time and then vote on it at that time. Okay. Item number 7 is declaring certain properties with dangerous buildings a public nuisance and setting a public hearing for June 17th. And those properties are 717 Bermuda Street, 245 Atlas Street, 8 Franklin Avenue, 318 Westview Drive, and 597 Eufaula Street. On any of those?
They're pretty bad shape.
Yeah, we looked at the pictures.
Yeah, we've got all the info on those. Okay, thank you so much. Item number 8 is an authorization for the mayor to execute a renewal lease with Harper's Innovative Counseling and Consulting Services at the Ozark Tech Center. So, Mayor, would you like to speak on that one?
Sure. It's just basically a one-year renewal, and the total annual rent will be $26.28 per month.
I didn't write that.
Not per month, that'd be.
I'm sorry, per year, I'm sorry. Yeah, I wish it was.
Council members, do you have any questions for the mayor on the execution of that lease?
Is this their second term? Or is this their second year? Third year?
Item number 9 is an agreement with Donna Fro Inc. for the architectural services associated with Project Evergreen, which is the sports complex. Mayor, would you like to speak on those?
Sure, I kind of talked about 9 and 10 a little bit together. I sent both of these contracts to Attorney Adams and had him look at them. They're pretty basic architectural and engineering contracts. And I have both Joe and Mr. Brandon here tonight, if y'all got any questions for either one of them about it.
Okay. Council members, do you have any comments or questions on item number 9?
Yes, I have some.
Yes.
As far as the architectural services, I looked the document over, and if I make no mistake, I saw about 7 paragraphs, if you will, of where they initially, letting us know that I guess they're taking those out or doing away with the items that they're initially in them. document, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. It would appear to me that with all that greater number of deletions, if we couldn't just get a new document prepared.
You could. I mean, we've done this on the last 40 or 50 projects, and these items and those paragraphs that are initial came up in a previous agreement that we had, and I don't even recall what the project was or who the client was, but they had issues with those particular paragraphs, so we thought, well, we just go ahead and take them out from here on, and that's what we've done. We just haven't edited the contract to that effect.
And the other question I have is that it lists the amount per hour in the architecture document.
Yeah, those would apply for additional services if additional services are required. Our fees are based on a percentage basis.
Understood.
Yeah, and our work is primarily for the vertical portion of the project where there are buildings. And we'll be working hand in glove with a civil engineer, and they'll be doing all the horizontal work, site development, utilities, lighting, landscaping.
Understood. Now, the civil engineer gave us a dollar amount that we can expect, or this council could expect, would have to be paid for their services. But now, for the architect's services, it's by the hour.
No.
It's
it's a percentage of the structure.
Percentage,
Right.
percentage,
So-
still at an hourly rate.
No,
Right.
no.
Well, percentage, just
Right.
percentage.
So
Okay.
so we didn't know how many buildings were gonna go
Right,
into the
understood.
park. So when we identify a building, like it's a pavilion or it's a concession stand, well, when that's built,
Right.
they just say it's $100 and our fee is a percentage of that $100.
Okay, well, looking at, I guess this is a rendering, am I right?
It's a concept, that's correct.
Concept. Okay, if we just take that concept in hand, could you just give us a perspective, your insight as to what type monies we're looking at?
I can't because I don't know what buildings are gonna be built in phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. I have no idea. That hasn't been defined yet.
Right, understood.
So the easy thing for you and for us is to do it on a percentage basis for whatever buildings are built. And then if we do something later on, then we'll apply it then. If I was to do it for the whole project, you'd be paying for buildings that haven't been built
Right,
yet.
understood. I guess where I'm going with this too is, and I've mentioned this previously, we went through this, when I say we, the city. The city of Ozark went through this a little over 20 years ago with this racetrack complex. We had the engineering services done. We had the architectural rendering done. We invested all of that money in this project that never did come to fruition. That land is sitting down there right now vacant. So the city has already purchased property for a sports complex 20 years ago. Now we are 20 years or 21 years fast forward. We're purchasing property again. So now it's the second time we purchased property. Nothing has been done so far to this point. And that's where I'm at right now. I'm not against the sports complex. I want everyone to know that. I've been talking about a sports complex, been in favor of one for many years. It's just that it hadn't come to fruition. Now, I'm sort of against the process because the city council has had no input really in this process to date as to where we are right now. I mean, when you look at it, it's the city council that basically we're the governing body that manages the finances and buildings and lands of this city. And I think we should have a seat at the table, which we hadn't so far, doing all the discussions now. Outside of what's been invested in the land so far, we're looking at $105,600 for the services of the engineering firm. We don't know what the services will be of the architect so far, and that's before anything has been done Next step would be the clearing of the land, and we don't know what that will cost. So I'm a little hesitant.
You got your bids.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, the mayor has told us we have had bids done on the clearing of the land, but they were rejected.
We're opening the bids, I believe it's the 9th, isn't it,
Right.
Brad? Isn't it?
Okay, so this is where I'm confused as to your point, is you were saying that we have to have a seat at the table. We're the ones who approved the funding of it. We're the ones who
Well, we
approved
had-
the funding of the land. We're the ones who approved all of that.
But we had no seat at the table. For instance, on the clearing of the land, bids were taken, they were rejected. We were told that by the mayor. No council member had any input in that, to my
That's
knowledge.
day-to-day operation of the city. We're not a part of that.
No, Mr. Tubman.
But you can't build it without clearing the land. We can't get to the numbers he's looking for.
Normally, the bids come
Without
before us
clearing.
and we do the rejecting, am I right?
No.
In some cases.
Well, I mean,
In
we-
some
we-
cases,
we
but
didn't
not
go-
in everything.
You know, on those, that we didn't feel comfortable with those as far as what it was
Right.
costing. So that's why
Understood.
it never made it to y'all.
Right, and the uncomfortableness came with, I guess, the excessive dollar amount, am I right?
That had something to do with it.
So I guess the highest was over 800,000, am I correct? Is that what I heard?
That's correct.
Okay.
So I guess my question for you is, what is that? I mean, do not get me wrong, I understand your point, but what does that have to do with the execution of the agreement for the architectural services or the engineering services?
Funding,
Correct.
each will require funding.
Each will require funding, and that's the big overarching thing. So I feel like you said a lot,
Right.
but
Perhaps.
it needs to boil down to, we haven't agreed to pay for any kind of land clearing. Are we going to, this would be in essence, we have the land, we've already purchased the land. Are we going to move forward with this architecture firm and this engineering? Are we going to move forward with this?
The mayor
or
said
not?
we were addressing both items, 9 and 10 together here.
Yes.
Another concern I have is an environmental feasibility study. Has that been done yet?
No, that's all part of
That's
this
part of,
process.
that's part of their services. So we have to engage in their services in order to be able to do that.
Do we have a budget for this project?
No, because it wasn't considered in our initial budgeting for this year.
Understood.
So we would have to make an out-of-budget, out of reserve. So whatever projects we approve will have to go out of reserves. And then they would either have to be budgeted for in the next budget, in next year's budget, or else we're gonna go back into reserves and have to deal with that again. So that is, I feel, but here's a quick thing. I feel like you know all of this already.
I know.
Yeah, I feel like you,
What I know is that we are within 2 months, I would say, of a budget, a fiscal year 26 budget. We are 5 meetings away from the election of a new administration, per se.
correct.
I think with that being said, I think we should leave this for the incoming administration.
Okay, that is a point of view. So that is something that I feel like every council member, if they haven't already been aware of that, Councilman Jackson brought you, just actually laid it out there for everyone. Is this council going to take a step knowing that it may be this council, it may not be this council that has to deal with the fact that we spent the money on these 2 purchases, if the next council decides to go forward with the project or not? That's the question that we need to answer and agree to funding tonight or
Could
not.
I make one point?
Yes.
The process that we're going through right here is the same process that the city of Dothan or any other city around us goes through to do whatever they're doing. Last meeting, when we were having these same conversations, Dothan approved, I think it was $56 million city hall, that I'm invited to their groundbreaking. I think it's next week. You know, they're continuing to move forward. There's construction in downtown Dothan all over the place. They're not concerned about who the next council is. They're concerned about what's best for the city of Dothan. And I wish y'all would think in that same manner.
Well, and that's.
Can I make a statement too?
Yes, absolutely.
We got to get to a certain point before we know what something's gonna cost,
Yeah.
what it's gonna start. That's when we go, we're not gonna try to pay for this out of the budget. We're gonna have to go get a bond to build something of this size. We're not gonna keep kicking this down the road. You'll have to get bond money like we built this city hall with, other things we built, to get the job done. And that's the way you have to do it, pay it over years, you know. You can't pay for a $7-8 million project out of our budget. Can't do it. It won't work.
And I'd
But
like
you've
to
got
add,
to get to a point where you know what it's gonna be. You've got to let these gentlemen do their job to get us to a certain point. And, we've been talking about a sports complex. I've been on the council 13 years, the whole time, wanting it on 231. And now we want to stall. You know, I don't understand it.
This was going to be in my part of what I talked about later, but I want to tell y'all this because there's other things being done that is going to save lots of money towards this project. Last week, we met with State DOT about the 27 intersections on 231. There's some safety concerns there. Michael Bryan pulled me some numbers and looked at the number of accidents. Steve Klaus was involved in it. We got DOT down here to look at how we could make those intersections safer. They said, yes, it's unsafe, but it would be better if you would go after A-Trip 2 funding. And we don't have any out-of-pocket expense for that, except where Polly does the initial paperwork and application and that kind of stuff. Kenny Sanders was in that meeting with us. So I said, the only problem I have with using A-Trip 2 funding there is I wanted to do the turn lanes to the sports complex with A-Trip 2 funding. He said, Mark, it's all right there together. Just do it as one project. Y'all submit it as one project. We'll approve it as one project, and we'll do it all together. I don't know what those 2 turn lanes would cost, but I'd say $750,000. I'm not sure. But if we get that put into a process of where we have no out-of-pocket, it's that much money we're ahead on this project.
and I was gonna say, correct me if I'm wrong, Chris, we have 2 bonds that are coming up, like we'll have one paid off next year, right, 2026?
February of '26.
Have one paid off, and the other one's not far behind it.
But that's the
Correct.
gas tax money, which will pay off in 2031, so.
Well, there's a third one though.
And that doesn't pay off until 2034.
Oh, 30, okay, so it's a 26 one, and I was thinking that. So we do have a bond that'll be paid off next year.
And just for, you know, I guess you got my email, I responded. The payments on that don't really decrease very much. So the way those bonds were structured, there's 2 bonds that are paid out of the general fund. Right now, we're paying, you know, roughly about $46,000 a month on those bonds. In February of '26, you would think that when that bond paid out, it would drastically reduce, but it doesn't. The 2017 bond that we call goes from $7,000 a month to about $42,000 a month. So our bond payment still continues, you know, to be above $40,000, you know, until it's paid off in 2034.
Yeah, but we're making progress though.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
On bonds, for when revenues for the city weren't as good as what they are today.
And now that you bring that up, I'll kind of make reference to what we talked about in the staff meeting this morning. So we're starting to work on our budget. We ran the first numbers. Our sales tax is flat. And so we had about $6,000 in excess for this last month that we did in collections. And so just FYI, you know, our budget as far as where we're looking at, and I told the mayor and the staff, you know, the department heads today, we will not have any capital outlay improvements in this year's budget. So that's coming up. There's just not enough funds there to be able to cover it. We're hopeful that, you know, those numbers will start to increase, and then maybe we can incorporate some capital outlay purchases, after the fact. But as far as what we're looking at and projecting right now, numerous reasons as far as what you might come up with. Sales tax is flat. Our expenses for salaries and benefits, healthcare, insurance, those are all up. Our just day-to-day operation expenses are up. And so it just does not allow for any capital outlay improvements. So anything that is improved
Is going to have to come.
is going to have to come out of
To the
reserves.
council and come out of reserves.
And that includes anything associated with the sport complex.
And let me remind y'all that these bonds that you're talking about, other than the gas tax, that was an original 2004 bond that was made for the city hall, about $4 million. We've had it very, very good for the last few years, but what had happened is we continued to do bond issues and draw money out. I mean, we bought police cars that was tied up in these bond issues at one point. We've been very fortunate the last few years, so it's not really new that things are pretty flat. We dealt with it with the county and the city, but I mean, we just gonna have to get creative and do what we need to do.
Are there any other comments?
And just like most of those roundtable discussions we had up in Huntsville, they're dealing with the same stuff because their cities are same size. And they pushed through with their projects like that too as well, and ended up benefiting in the end. Very successful projects.
Okay, so,
Along with what Chris just mentioned, hadn't been, 2 weeks removed, we were here talking about repairing a garbage truck. We're not Dover. We can't make that comparison. We don't have the revenue that they have. We're about 6 months removed or so from looking at building a sports complex next to Eagle Stadium. Just before Christmas. That was the project we were looking at. After which we went to 231, or the mayor went to 231.
We gotta be flexible.
Yeah.
okay. So items 9 and 10. So when we get to those points, council members, you just need to take into consideration all of the points that were taken in the discussion and vote whether you would like to go into the agreements for the services. I will kind of point out that, they're kind of a package deal because they're, you don't want to do one and then not the other or anything like that. Not that I think y'all would do that, but so you just need to vote your conscience on that.
Also, one more thing,
Yes.
Council President, I forgot to ask. The expenditures in these contracts isn't they're not the lump sums that we're paying. This is like over time. Right.
It'll be draws as they do.
Draws that-
Yes.
Like when you build a home or
Yes.
something, you're gonna take a construction draw.
As he said,
And-
yes. They're-
Yeah, and if I may, to clarify, we only bill for buildings that we're designing. That may be 2 out of 6 or 7 on that site. And that may come later on this year or the first of next year before we actually decide which buildings need to go. You are the client. You tell me which buildings need to go on this property as phase 1. That's what we'll design. And then we bill on those. We're not upfront. We're not billing for everything on that site. And I think Mayor and I talked about phasing this project.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so an item that has been requested to be added is, there are actually, I guess it's 3, but it's really 2. Item number, if you will, item number 11 will be to rescind Resolution 2024A, which set the bounds for the entertainment district, because we will need to introduce the new resolution that will just redefine it, to add a little bit of that Southeast Avenue.
It's just gonna need to rescind the old.
Yes, it doesn't, just as the order, we have to rescind the old to put the new in.
And let me point out to y'all, when we were putting the new one together, last year, we carried the festival all the way down in front of the Baptist church. So we have stopped the entertainment district short of there. If Ozzie and them have a reason to put vendors down there, we're still going to restrict the alcohol and not let the alcohol go all the way down in front of First Baptist Church. So, signage or whatever.
Okay. So that would be item number 11. And then item 12 is an executive session for economic development. Oh, rescind, okay, I'm sorry. He said rescind would be 11, the resolution will be 12, and then item 13 is an executive session for economic development. Okay. Council members, do you have any questions on 11 and 12, the rescinding and then the adoption of the new resolution? And then the 13 will be the economic development executive session. Okay? So with that, I will go out into the audience. Are there any department heads in attendance that have any comments or questions on any of the agenda items this evening? Is there anyone in attendance that has any comments or questions on the agenda items this evening? Yes, sir.
Madam President, notwithstanding the training that the council has had about the responsibilities of a city council, Mr. Peralta, Madam President, is, I'm sure apparently by your comments about who has responsibilities, is a bit regretful in context of the law. Alabama law in 1143-56, and I did confer with two other sources to include this, the Alabama Alliance of Municipalities. Here's what the law says. The council shall have the management and control of the finances, as you said, Madam President, and all of the property, real and personal, belonging to the city or the town. So this is on you. If this begins to fail, I think in the beginning you may have said something about that. One of the biggest smoking holes is going to be, however, when you do decide, because you're a bit late according to the chronology that usually goes along with it, notwithstanding that gentleman's expertise, but your environmental study. You have Little Claybank Creek that flows into federally protected land and lake. And there's going to be there's going to be an exclusion in his contract. There's going to be one in Poly Engineering. When you're dealing with a constituency issue like that, it's not on them. So you better get ahead of that one, because this is the Little Claybank Creek watershed. And the sign that we had out there on the road, the city had to let people have that, somebody ran over it. The last thing is I wanted the public to know that the touting that was, and the cheering that was going on last time by Ms. Harlow about the Brundage success with Pike County, that entire complex is the Pike County High School now, with state and federal funding. So it had nothing to do with any sort of attributes that you may be claiming success here. And the Crenshaw County that was cheered by the mayor, we went out and looked at it. It has a walking trail, has some lights, and one bench. Have any of y'all been out there?
Saw pictures of it.
Yeah, just pictures though.
It's a work in progress, you know.
How many years, Ms. Harlow? You have any idea?
It's been 3 years, and I have.
I'm not talking to you, Mr. Mayor, please.
When we spoke to the Brendan City Council, they did not tell me how many years.
I was talking Crenshaw County now, ma'am.
I am not under inquisition here. I'm just
I'm not-
telling you when I.
You mentioned that it had been going for
When you
years.
talk
I
to
The
wanted-
Brendan City Council, they acknowledged that they were in the process of building a sportsplex.
I didn't mean to start with you, Ms. Harlow. I have moved on to Crenshaw
I
County.
mean, geez, I don't know anything about Crenshaw County.
That's what, yeah, he was asking about that.
May I reclaim my time just for a moment? I think I'm okay on time. But Ms. Harlow, it had to do with Crenshaw County. And you said it had been going on for years. I wanted to know if you knew how many years. I do. Thank you, ma'am.
Is there anyone else in attendance that has any comments or questions on any of the agenda items this evening? Yes, ma'am?
Yes. Can you tell me what the percentage is that,
Can't hear you.
She would like to know what the percentage is.
Yes, for the architecture.
For the architectural
firm? Yes.
services, 4.5%.
Okay, and you did not discuss the engineering contract at all?
We did, they were both discussed in 9 and 10. For the engineering services,
That's
for
the cost for the engineering services.
the engineering services, it
$105,600.
is
105,600. If I make no mistake.
Yes, 105,600.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other comments or questions about any of the agenda items this evening? I'll open up the floor. Are there any comments or questions about any subject in particular this evening? Yes, sir.
Brian, President. So I just have a question, make sure everybody's in the room and y'all. When are you available officially to start promoting your campaign for any kind of?
Oh, if you were going to
Yes, ma'am.
run for one of the public offices?
Yes, well, I spoke with Mr. Chris, and Mr. Chris, I know always says I can't speak about it, or something around that kind of line of message, and just like anything else, there's always going to be kind of tricky to understand those kind of wording. So I'm gonna be honest with you, I mean, I'll read it, and I can get somebody else to read it, and it's tricky to understand, but what's the official answer?
So you can start advertising at any time.
Whenever you would like. Yes.
That was all.
He may be concerned about the qualifying dates. Are you concerned about?
Well, the qualifying
Is that
date,
separate
the
from-
June 10th. That's gonna come up here and pay the $50 and.
Yes, you'll have your qualifying date, so just remember, and this is one of the, whenever you're reading the little book, if you are raising funds, there will be a reporting period after you have passed a certain threshold, so you'll have to just make sure that you're reporting your campaign contributions
Yes.
after that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. Are there any comments or questions about any other subject in particular? Okay, with that, I'll go to final comments. Mayor?
On the Crenshaw County Sports Complex, that was a 4-year project. I did go there, I spent all morning with the probate judge, I also looked at the plans, looked at where they were bid, so I know about everything you need to know about the sports complex. The Holman House elevator should be going in this Thursday. We had some issues with the paperwork on the painting of the helicopter in the tank. Hopefully that's going to start this week. The development that I've been mentioning to y'all across the aviation college, did talk to the owner one day last week, and they are supposed to submit plans to Brett this week of a full layout of that development. The tennis court process has started. They're actually over there working today. I mentioned the A-Trip too. I mentioned last meeting about the homes in the villages, about we needed to really help promote those. I'm glad to report that 2 of those are under contract, so hopefully they can get started on some others. And I handed you a letter that is from Reality's Check. That is the building over here across the street, the big shopping center that is behind City Hall. They have taken the last 4 buildings on the right, and you can read what all they're planning to do here. And he addressed it to the mayor and council, so I just made y'all a copy to send it to you. But I want to thank Mr. Donifro and Mr. Branham for coming tonight and answering any questions if y'all had any. That's all I got.
Thank you. Councilman Inglinger? Councilman Jackson?
Yes, I have one concern for Mr. Manota. On that open Everett Park, we had a citizen come before us and speak about it. And my question is, has that ball, the basketball court, has that been striped to your knowledge?
Has there been what?
Striped.
No, it has not.
Okay.
We have purchased the dispensers for it, we just haven't done an auction.
I think that's what the individual was alluding to in the
That
previous
there's not been
council.
an actually
Right,
stripes.
yeah,
Yes.
and you cannot play a basketball game if you don't know what the boundaries are, if you don't have a arc there for a free throw or what have you. Now, it's been paid for how long?
We've been for about 6 months now.
Okay, yeah, I think it's time that we get it striped. Do we have money in the budget to stripe it?
I don't have money to hire an outside company to do it. That's why I purchased these items myself.
Okay,
So I'm just waiting for the ground school to have an opportunity to find time to get there to do it.
okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
You got it.
I can tell you, the striping, not having stripes on is not stopping people from playing basketball. I drove by there this way, everything's gone, and folks out there playing.
We understand that. It's okay. You're a game. Oh.
Was that yours?
I was gonna say, yeah.
Okay, that was the second. Okay, Councilwoman Harlan?
No, nothing at this time.
Okay. My only comment is, in a couple of weeks, I will not be in attendance at the next council meeting. There's a couple times a year, one of my concerts or something ends up on a Tuesday, and so that is one of the ones where I will not be in attendance. So I've let Councilman Jackson know, and he will be running the next meeting. And then, but that being said, keep an eye out because the Wish Upon a Star Summer Show at Flowers will have its tickets on sale. But I just won't be able to announce it by then, so just keep your eye out for that. He'll make an announcement for it, okay. So with that, I will call this meeting, yes, sir.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
it's-
So, I actually had questions about what Mr. Osh was speaking about.
I would just say, can you just ask him about?
Well, I want to make it public just real quick. If there's a way that I can get with you after, I would like to donate my labor side of that. So where if I can settle it with me and my family, I'd be happy to do that.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you. Okay. So with that, I will call this meeting to a close and we'll begin the next meeting in 3 minutes.
25 years in the Army, I never heard of that.
Led by Mayor Blankenship.
Bow your heads. Lord, we just thank you for this day that you made for us, Lord. Ask that you be with us as we conduct the city's business, Lord. We ask that you be with all of our first responders as they never know what's going to happen when they head out on the job, Lord. And bless all the citizens of the city of Ozark. Keep them safe. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, gentlemen. At this time, we will review the minutes from the regular council meeting that was held on May 20th, 2025. What are the wishes of the council?
Madam President, I move that we accept the minutes of the regular council meeting held on May 20th, 2025 as presented.
Thank you. I have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Next item is to set the agenda for this, oh, just kidding. My brain. I was already thinking 11, 12, 13. Okay. We're going to go back. We're going to circle back. Is there any discussion on accepting the minutes as presented?
No.
All in favor of passing the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Now, we will set the agenda for this evening. What are the wishes of the council?
Madam President, I move that we approve the setting the agenda with the addition of item number 11 to rescind the change to the entertainment district 12 resolution for a new entertainment district, a new resolution for the entertainment district, and 13 as executive session.
Thank you. I have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Do we have any further discussion on setting the agenda as amended? All in favor of passing the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Item number 5 is an ordinance for rezoning. What are the wishes of the council?
Madam President, I introduce an ordinance for rezoning of 398 Claybank Street from B4 to B3 and move for its approval.
Thank you. I have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Do we have any further discussion on the rezoning of 398 Planting Street? All in favor of passing the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Item number 6 is to set a public hearing for the rezoning of 314 Bingham Street. What are the wishes of the council?
Madam President, I make a motion, we set a public hearing for rezoning of 314 Bingham Street for our next council meeting at 5 p.m.
Thank you. June 17th. Thank you. I have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Do we have any further discussion on setting this public hearing on June 17th at 5 p.m.? All in favor of passing the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Item number 7 is declaring certain properties with dangerous buildings a public nuisance and setting a public hearing. What are the wishes of the council?
Madam President, I move to declare certain properties with dangerous buildings a public nuisance and set a public hearing for June 17, 25 at 5 p.m. for 717 Bermuda Street, 245 Atlas Street, 8 Franklin Avenue, 318 Westview Drive, and 597 Uvalde Street.
Thank you. I have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Do we have any further discussion on declaring any of these properties public nuisance and setting that public hearing? All in favor of passing the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Item number 8 is an authorization for the mayor to execute a renewal lease with Harper's Innovative Counseling and Consulting Services. What are the wishes of the council?
Madam President, I make a motion to authorize the mayor to execute a renewal lease with the Harper's Innovative Counseling and Consulting Services for the 26-28 year.
Thank you. I have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second.
Oh, thank you. Do we have any further discussion on this authorization? All in favor of passing the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Item number 9 is an agreement with Donafro Inc. for architectural services associated with Project Evergreen. What are the wishes of the council?
Madam President, I move that we enter into agreement with Donafro Incorporated for architectural services associated with Project Evergreen.
Thank you. I have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Do we have any additional discussion on the execution of this agreement?
My discussion is that he agreed to draft a new document with these 7 items he has deleted in here.
What's the purpose of that? When they're deleted?
Yeah.
You just explained what
Yeah,
it is.
explain what
Just
they were.
explained it. So, but with the initial, then we would know that it was all out
Same
as
thing.
well.
That's the same thing.
Am I incorrect?
Same thing.
Councilman, Attorney Adams, if it is initialed, that it is marked out and it's initialed and it's initialed by us, then it is in essence out of the agreement.
I'm not going to argue with Winston, but I don't believe he said he could draft a new,
He could, but there's no need.
simpler contract. He didn't say he was going to do it.
No.
No one asked him to do it.
He mentioned he could or would.
Yes, that's.
All right, thank you. Any other discussion on this agreement? All in favor of this, all in favor of passing the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Opposed.
Thank you. Motion passes. Item number 10 is an agreement with Poly Inc. for engineering services associated with Project Evergreen. What are the wishes of the council?
Madam President, he introduced an agreement with Poly Incorporated for engineering service associated with Project Evergreen, the sports complex, and move for its approval.
Thank you. I have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Do we have any further discussion on this agreement with Poly Engineering? Okay, one thing I will say is Mr. Brandon did come up. He was just confused about when he could speak. Part of this engineering services does have the environmental service encased in it, and he spoke of the gentleman that they actually do that, and this man has done it for years. So that does answer some of the questions about the environmental, and so therefore, the questions about the little Claybank Creek and all of that kind of stuff will be answered in that environmental, that would be included in these engineering services.
But he did,
If you agree, if you were to agree with that.
and he did say that the plan is to build retention ponds, so it would not affect that at all.
Well, I mean, that's
He
just
may
part
have
of the
stepped off
engineering, yeah,
at
so,
that time, but,
okay. All right.
but that's
Are
what
there
he said
any-
the plan was.
Are there any is there any additional discussion on this agreement?
Outside of funding, I have none.
Thank you, thank you. All in favor of passing the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Opposed.
Thank you. Motion passes. Item number 11 is to rescind the resolution 2024A. What are the wishes of the council?
Madam President, I introduce a resolution to rescind, or,
It's not a resolution, you're just rescinding the resolution.
Make a motion.
I make a motion to rescind. Okay, I'm sorry. Madam President, I make a motion to rescind Resolution 2024A of the Entertainment District.
Thank you. I have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Do we have any further discussion on rescinding this resolution? All in favor of passing the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Item number 12 is the adoption of the new resolution outlining the entertainment district. What are the wishes of the council?
Madam President, I make a motion that we introduce the new entertainment district on there. I don't like, it doesn't have a specific,
You just say I introduce a resolution.
2025.
Yeah.
with the new layout.
Thank you. Motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Do we have any further discussion on the redrawing of the entertainment district lines? All in favor of passing the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Item number 13 is an executive session for economic development. What are the wishes of the council?
Madam President, I move that we enter into executive session to discuss economic development.
Thank you. I have a motion on the floor. Do I have a
Second.
Thank you. Do we have any discussion about going into executive session? I will invite Attorney Adams to join us in there for that.
Chris, you good?
I don't
think so.
Probably just where he'll know, yes.
Okay, sure.
We'll keep it.
I'll invite our city clerk to go in there with us as well. Okay. So all in favor of moving into executive session, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, at this time, we will move into executive session. At this time, I cannot say whether we will conduct further business after we get back. Stay tuned.
It is time.
So after I socialize with this and after.
Sometimes so either. That's great, I have no glasses on. Keep reading.
Thank you. At this time, oh, that is not my chair. I was like, what is this reunion showing? At this time, I entertain a motion to come out of executive session.
So moved.
Thank you. I have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor of coming out of executive session, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. At this time, I would like someone to make a motion to amend the agenda.
Madam President, I move that we amend the agenda for a project and lease agreement.
So that would be item number 14. Okay.
Correct.
So I have a motion on the floor to amend the agenda to add item number 14, an amended project and lease agreement
For Brittany's
for
time.
Brittany's time. I have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
Second.
Do we have any further discussion on amending the agenda?
No.
All in favor of amending the agenda as, yes, amending the agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Item number 14 is an amendment agreement, an amended project agreement, and an amended lease agreement for Brittany's time. What are the wishes of the council?
Madam President, I move that we approve an amended project as well as an amended lease agreement for Brittany's time.
Thank you. I have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Do we have any further discussion on accepting this amended project and lease agreement? All in favor of passing the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Let me finish writing my notes. I know. I have a lot of notes tonight.
That's my shorthand tonight.
So with that, please note that you've had a court report and a financial report in your packet. So with no further business, I'll go to Mayor, final comments.
All right, the 8U, 10U, 12U Ozark team is playing in Ashford all week.
Okay.
And my 8U grandson just hit a home run.
Aw, he's like, I got to get out there. Okay. Okay.
That's all.
Councilman Finger, Councilman Jackson,
Nothing.
Councilman Burrell,
Nothing.
Councilwoman Harlow. All right, no comments from me. So at this time, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make the motion to adjourn.
Thank you. I have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor of adjourning, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. I call this meeting to a close.